ready to ride. Finally, some Saturday football. I don't know who's fired up about it, but I sure am. Can't remember a season where you go the whole month of October and not have a Saturday game. I think this is the first normal week. When I say normal week, Monday's truly a Monday practice, or Wednesday's truly a Wednesday practice. You travel on Friday and you play a game on Saturday. I think it's the first time we've had that since September 20th, so it's been a while. And the first time we're going to have a day game all season. So every game we've had up to this point, all 7 games, have been at night. And this will be our first day contest of the year, so excited about that. And, over that stretch, I've had three Thursday games in a row. Finished 2-1 of those 3 Thursday night games. And the last one, the night of the Boneyard, just going back to Tulsa. I thought the offense performed really, really well. Had 568 yards. Total offense, you've seen those guys starting to come along. It's about this time last year we saw the offense really go to work and doing that. And 268 rushing yards led by London Montgomery. Nice to see him get going. Popped a long one in there, I think 50-plus yards. Certainly knew he had that in him, but to see that come out on game day. And another strong performance by Caden, over 300 yards again, passing the ball. Anthony had a couple touchdowns, hitting down the field a couple times, stretched the field. Nick Massey was Special Teams Player of the Week. Following the Tulsa game, and I had a strong performance. Mike Wright, you saw him in several different spots out there, offensively, receiver, running back, quarterback, and then defensively got him on the field as well. So he's starting to, be a guy that we truly depend on in several areas, and a guy that we thought we would have there. Defensively, probably didn't perform to our standard, or the standard we set here early in the season, but I thought overall they did the things we needed to do to win a ball game. They continued to up front, especially to push the pocket around, make some tackles for loss. I think we had 10 TFLs and 5 sacks. Preston Carr and Ryan Rosenberg kind of leading that group up front. So seems like forever ago since the Tulsa game. I think we got 16 days between the Tulsa game and the Temple game here. So during the bye week, we just spent some time on making sure we reset, recovery, refreshing, kind of get back to being healthy and those type of things. Not only physically, but just kind of mentally reset too. So took some time away. But did practice last week, practice last Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Took some time off this past weekend and then got back to being ahead today. And I think the advantage you have in a bye week is you can work ahead of your opponent. You're really focused on your next opponent, where your opponent, in this case Temple, was really focused on their opponent, Tulsa. So they're kind of their first day of work is yesterday or today of looking at us, and we've had a whole week to look at them. So that's played a big advantage for us. But Temple is a very, very good football team. Could easily, they're 5-3 right now, I believe. Could easily be 6-2. Had a chance to beat Navy, an undefeated Navy. Scored at the end of the game. If they probably just, put the ball in the middle of the field and kick a field goal, they probably win that football game. And are sitting here, already bowl eligible in the top of our conference. Offensively, they're averaging 33 points a game, about 175 on the ground, about 216 in the air. The most impressive thing is their turnover margin this season. They've only turned the ball over 1 time all season. The quarterback had 0 interceptions. And they've only had 1 fumble. And then on the other side of the ball, they've gained 11. So done a pretty good job with that. I think offensively, Evan Simon, the quarterback we played against last year, he's a veteran. He's a transfer from Rutgers. I believe he's a 5th-year senior. Is doing a really good job of commanding that offense, operating the offense. Not only making good decisions with the football in the air, but I think in the ground game too. He's adding that with his legs, whether it be in the scramble or just the zone read type stuff. He's pulling the football down and doing some good things with it. The tailback, I think he just went over 3,000 yards. Jay Ducker, 3,000 yards in his career. He does a really good job. He's got 5'10", 210 pounds. Thick kid in there. Does a really good job on the inside zone, mid-zone plays, and had some big runs throughout the season. The backup had a big run Saturday as well, and Hunter Smith. I think the tight end is probably one of the best tight ends we've seen this year. I think Tulsa had a really good tight end. This kid might even be a little better. He's bigger. He's listed at 6'6", 265. I think he's caught about 25 balls this year and doing a really good job. And then number 11, Holland Wayne, had 3 receiving touchdowns on Saturday against Tulsa. So on the defensive side of the ball, it's led by Brian Smith, the defensive coordinator. I thought he was at Rice previously. It gives you different multiple looks, 4 down, 3 high safety, and doing some things there. He's holding opponents to 189 yards in the air. So obviously, Caden's doing a really good job in the air right now, throwing the ball around. But they're giving multiple looks, doing some things over there defensively. I think the pass rusher up front for them is Cameron Stewart. We got to keep an eye on and know where he's at in some passing situations. Then in the special teams game, their place kickers got good range. They attempted a 62-yard kick against Georgia Tech, just fell short. He had a 53 or 54-yard field goal this past weekend in Hardin. And then their punter, I think he's one of the best punters in our league, and did a really good job of pinning Tulsa deep inside the 5-yard line twice this weekend. And then return man, number 17, Bermudez, is explosive back there. I think he has a big return against UTSA. I think that one had a penalty flag on it. Got a little loose for about 10 yards this past weekend against Tulsa, and then has some big returns against Charlotte. I think he's averaged about 15 yards return. So all in all, a very good football team. Coach Casey Killer is a veteran at this thing. He's been around a long time, does a heck of a job, and just really has turned that whole program around up there. Has gotten excitement back in, got those guys playing hard, and respect the heck out of what he's done up there in a short amount of time. And certainly we got to, have our A game ready to go and be ready to ride and play our best football this season. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to back to a Saturday game and looking forward to a day game. So this time we'll go with any questions.
Coach, 16 days between games is a long time. How do you balance, obviously, getting the guys fresh, but also going live to keep kind of that game speed so whenever ramps back up, they're ready for it?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen, for the question. My 16 days of the bye week here, I watched a lot of October baseball. I don't know how that went for you, but for me, I thought it was pretty good to see Trey Savage and Hoffman and those guys really dealing and getting to the World Series. I know it was a heartbreaker for you, so I apologize, but I think we're all as Pirate fans pretty happy about it and enjoying watching that. But yeah, I think you have 16 days off, and the big challenge is to make sure you're recovering, refreshed, reset, all those things. But when you go out to play, it's not like you haven't played for 16 days. You're picking up back where you left off. I think some of that is resetting and refreshing and making sure you are back in that mode. And then we just got to foot on the gas. It's a normal practice week. Make sure we're going to practice and physical. Make sure we're practicing fast, and make sure we're preparing to win. Make sure we're earning the right to win. No different than any other week. So you'll do some good things like normal. I think the best thing we've done is get ahead of ourselves a little bit and have time to do that and still staying fresh. And come Saturday, we got to make sure we're ready to go, foot on the gas, start fast.
Coach, Temple's a team that's put some points on the board this year. Defensively, what are kind of the keys to stopping that attack?
Yeah, I think they're averaging about 33 points a game, and I think it starts with the run. I say it starts with the run game for them. They've done a really good job of that throughout the season. But Saturday, they hit it through the air. They're explosive plays down the field, and I thought they took more shots down the field. After a made first down or in the shot zone, he's putting the ball down the field. So we got to do a good job staying on top of those receivers and having a plan for that. And then at the same time, make sure we shut down the run game. So they're a very balanced attack, doing a better job, especially later in the season here, of doing that. But we got to do a great job tackling. I think we've done a pretty good job tackling up to this point. I think that running back's a load, and quarterback certainly can pull and hurt you. So we got to be sound in our responsibilities and certainly stay on top of the pass game at the same time.
Coach, you mentioned the turnover margin, and
yeah.
That's just something that's standing out as far as nationwide for them in that category. I mean, 0 picks for a quarterback at this time of year is remarkable. But I mean, what are you telling your guys as far as the importance of that category this week?
Yeah, you get into November and you've got a quarterback who hadn't turned the ball over all season. That's pretty special, and that's a big, huge reason for their success at this point. And only one fumble. They put the ball on the ground a few other times. Just they do a good job of swimming to the ball and recovering it and knocking it out of bounds. I think Simon did that on Saturday. But for us, it's about playing the way we want to play. And we always talk about focuses on us, how we do things, how we operate, and it still is. I think if we'll go play the game we want to play, and the way we want to play, we can help force turnovers, and that's kind of been the case throughout the season. And we got to do a better job of just punching at the football. The ball's in the air. We got to do a better job of going and getting it. He doesn't put it in harm's way, but you got to put him under pressure situations. And if you can get a lead on a team like this, then you force him to be a little bit more of a drop back pass. A lot of his pass game is play action, throwing wheel routes out of the backfield, or wide, tight end hides going back, or a quick game. So it doesn't really have to sit back there and drop back pass. If you could make him sit back there and get him in 3rd and long, or a situation where they're behind the game, and make him sit back there and drop back pass, then you get a pass rush in the face, and maybe you force him to put a bad ball in the air, and you have a chance to go pick one off. So all those things kind of play in a factor, and it's not just about what your defense and how they're going to create turnovers, but how your team is going to stress the other football team and put them in situations where they can be careless with the football.
Coach, around this time last year, you were preparing for Evan Simon. You're doing that again. What have you seen on film this year that has set him apart from the player he was a year ago?
Yeah, a year ago we knew about Evan and knew about Temple. Obviously, I think the biggest focus was on keeping our team together and make sure we played with great effort and great energy. And what you've seen Evan grow is just the decision making that he's done over the last year and taking care of the football. Those are the two biggest things. And you see him use his legs more. You didn't see that a year ago. You didn't know how good of a runner he is. He's certainly shown that. Whether it's just drop back and pass and it's not there, tucking the ball down and taking care of it and taking off, or in the zone read game, it's pulling it when a defensive end or whoever the quarterback player may be doesn't keep his shoulders square or does a poor job of squeezes too far, he'll pull and out leverage you on the perimeter. So he's done a really good job of that, and I think that's what they've done offensively, what Coach Keeler's doing offensively, and Tyler doing up there is just kind of fit Evan, and they're definitely playing to their strengths right now.
Any other questions? A couple more.
From the beginning of the season to now, you've seen kind of the passing game, it feels like, as Anthony Smith, Yannick have really emerged. What have you seen from the connection between them and Caden as far as week one to now?
Yeah, I think it's the deep ball down the field. I think in week one, I couldn't tell you exactly how many passing yards, but I think they were pretty up there, over 300. So I thought, Caden was really doing a great job early in the season, taking care of the football and making good decisions and continuing to show you that he does that at times. And then here recently, I think Anthony just stretching, taking the top off of it, getting behind receivers. And that opens up the whole thing. We talked about that before, how it all goes together. The run game helps that out as well. I think early in the season, game one, we did a great job running the football. And we kind of, progressed throughout the season. That's not just the running backs doing a better job of seeing it or hitting it, but it's also the O-line playing together. I thought Panda did a great job of just in there as another guy in there that's kind of playing along. And we've had some guys kind of banged up. Bryce is out right now, and hopefully get him back sooner than later. But that group up front continue to be a strength. And we got to continue running the football against Temple as well. So all that kind of goes together. The fact that Anthony's kind of connecting with those guys down the field and putting it on Anthony, just giving him a chance to go run under it and getting those guys behind those guys kind of helps open up the short intermediate game as well as the run football, rushing the football as well.
Coach, with Josiah Robinson, he's obviously been through a lot of injuries prior to this. What's it been like kind of seeing him come to his own this year after waiting his time?
Yeah, all those guys like that, like JR is just a perfect example of guys that kind of, they battle through injury throughout their career. They get caught maybe down the lineup after they had an injury or two. They're a 3 or a 2, don't get as many reps. And all of a sudden, Josiah, he's a starter for us right now and playing his tail off and playing hard. Doesn't really say much. He just goes to work every single day and, playing physical in there and doing a good job. So just happy for him and happy for so many others. Zay McGyver's still kind of battling back right now, but hopefully get him back soon and he can kind of add to that D-line room. If you go back to game one, I thought he probably outplayed everybody in the D-line room. Certainly been missing him, so hopefully have him back soon. He's definitely trending that way. But JR has been a bright spot. And, obviously last game I think was the first game we were out without Rashid. Reason at corner. Hopefully have him back end of the season here. But some other guys I thought stepped up, did a good job out wide, and kind of continue to do that by committee. So all those older guys, just battling around, kind of earning their right to play, earning their reps, and then taking the advantage of them. And it truly is next guy up, next man up. We talk about selfless guys all the time, and I think if you look at J.D. Lampley, is a guy that started on the edge early in the season. We've had to move him inside, and he's doing whatever he can do to help the team. And that's the type of guys you want. Brock Spalding's another one. He's not worried about all these other factors out here. He's worried about how can I help the football team. He plays inside, plays outside. He runs the football. He blocks on the perimeter. He chases the football. Panda just mentioned selfless, chases the football. And those are guys, they can be contagious. More and more guys kind of follow that step of being selfless, playing their tails off, running the football, and help us win football games. We talk about November and keeping November a month to remember for our fans and our program. And it really just starts, we talked to our team this morning, it starts about how we do things and doing the little things better than anybody else and the way we prepare. And we got to continue to do that every single day. This time last year, we talked about focusing on each day, making that the most important day, and winning the day each day. And it's really no different now. And that's how you win on Saturdays, just win on Mondays, win on Tuesday, win on Wednesday. So we got to be locked into that all week and do a great job of preparation with that.
Coach, you mentioned earlier you're going to see multiple different fronts from this team, and as you
Yeah.
mentioned, you're banged up on the offensive line side of thing. How important has these 16 days been to work on, hey, how do we block this against a 3-man front as opposed to a 4-man?
Yeah, I think the good thing about this point in the season, you've seen a little bit of everything. You've seen the 3 high safety look from Coastal earlier in the season. You see an odd front, throughout the season as well. You've seen even mostly from Tulsa, so you've seen some variations there. They're going to package some things up, roll some guys in and out, and do a really good job with it. So at this point in the season, though, you've seen the looks. You can coach off, hey, it's the same as what you saw in the Coastal game. Hey, it's the same as what you saw in the Tulsa game. Hey, it's the same as what you saw, back in the Army game. So all those kind of add to it. Obviously, each and every week you expect defenses to be better and better, and certainly Temple is. So it does help with that, some recall there, and kind of moving forward with how we do things. So, but at the same time, you're looking at all those 3 different packages and really different looks. It does give you time to prepare for those looks.
Seen some more trickery on special teams and games this year than previous years. Just how important has it been to get creative on that side of the ball?
I think it's just who we are, what we're about, and not just special teams, but offensively, defensively. We always want to be attacking. We always want to be an aggressor. We always want to go get it and put our foot on the gas, whatever it may be. Well, defensively, like for me and Coach Aldridge, that's like, hey, let's go put pressure on them. Let's go have 10 TFLs. Let's go have 5 sacks. And you can't do that by not bringing pressure, not bringing guys, or not playing vertical up the field. Offensively, we want to hit big plays down the field to Anthony Smith. Well, you can't do that if you're not going to take shots. And you can't put a defense under stress if you're not going tempo and do some things like that, or motion and formation and speed huddle breaks and all those type of things. So the special teams just fits into that. How do we want to take advantage of the other football team and help us win football games? Be aggressive on special teams, whether it's a surprise onside kick, a little pop pass, whatever it was, against Tulsa and Tulane there, or if it's just a fake looking back at game 1. So all those things kind of help play a factor in who we want to be and be aggressive, and maybe puts the other team in kind of reaction mode. We definitely don't want to react; we want to attack. So that's just kind of our mindset in all 3 phases and how we want to be as a football team. I think you've seen that in how we've attacked 4th down throughout the season, and I think there's obviously there's analytics to tell you to do certain things, and there's also gut feelings to tell you to do certain things. And you got to do what's best for your football team to help you, win games. I think 4th down's an area where we've got to be a little better. We've been really good on 3rd down. We got to carry that success over to 4th down and make sure we go finish drives and give ourselves opportunities to go put some more points on the board.
Coach, I saw you picked up a pretty big recruit over the break. What does Rowdy Harrell show you on film?
Yeah, so Rowdy is ready to get rowdy and dowdy, and certainly adds another family member to the house. And she was at practice day running around. I think she might be the real QB1 out there. Don't tell Caden that. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun just for our household. And waking up in the middle of the night, it's like you have another baby out there. But I was just talking to our coaches this morning. We do a thought of the day, and I was telling them about what's going on in our household and Rowdy and those things, and talking about teaching to a new pup, or how you bring along and train a new pup is really like the same teaching as some of the things you do for our players, and positive reinforcement, and the man who think he can't and the man think he can are both right, and just positive reinforcement of our players. So when it comes time to make a play, they know they can make that, and you build that confidence, you build that reinforcement through reps in practice, and we've done that and feel really good about where we're at, and really excited about the new pup as well. My daughter's going to turn her into a house pet. I'm trying to turn her into a hunting dog. So we'll see who wins that one. I got a feeling I know who's going to win.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate you guys.